So I'm autistic. Yeah, so this video is basically going to be me breaking down the fact that I am autistic, how I came to that realization, and why I'm telling you. Because for a while, I didn't make a big stink about it. I didn't make a big coming out video. I just sort of casually slipped into some of my videos like, as an autistic woman, or my autistic perspective on this is. But I've been getting some comments of people who are confused because I did make a big coming out or anti-coming out video about how I wasn't autistic a couple of months ago. Or was that almost a year ago at this point? And I didn't want to confuse people. I want to be as transparent and upfront as possible about all of this, so here is my coming out as autistic video. Hi, my name is Megan, and welcome to Neurodivergent Magic, the YouTube channel for accessible and relatable neurodivergent content. So, how did I come to the conclusion that I'm autistic, even though I already came to the conclusion that I wasn't? It's very complicated, and I do want to walk you through the process because I think the self-realization process of realizing that you're autistic is a lot messier than people online make it seem. For instance, you might think, oh, just go get assessed by a professional and then you'll know whether or not you're autistic, and that seems pretty straightforward and easy, right? In actuality, a professional autism assessment is actually usually pretty inaccessible. First of all, they're very expensive, and insurance often doesn't cover adult autism assessments. Plus, it can be incredibly difficult to find a provider who actually understands autism and won't dismiss you out of hand simply because you make eye contact. So a lot of us are left to self-diagnose, and that is such a tricky process because it's really hard to be objective about your brain and evaluate what's going on in it. This is why professional diagnosis is supposed to be the better option. It's just with so many uneducated and frankly ignorant assessors out there, self-diagnosis is honestly the better path for a lot of us. That has been the case with me. I cannot afford an autism assessment, nor do I trust anyone in my area to assess me, even if I could afford it. When I looked into getting a professional autism assessment, the closest place I could find that had a website with information that was up to date, autism affirming rather than using the deficits model, and just generally seemed informed about autism and didn't promote ABA therapy was 8 hours away. So yeah, I gave up on that pretty quickly and I turned to self-diagnosis instead. And at first, I was so sure that I was autistic. About a year ago, almost to the day, I came out online as autistic, and I was out online as autistic for, I think, 2 or 3 months before I finally broached the topic with my therapist. And she said that she does work with neurodivergent communities and neurodivergent people, and she just didn't see that in me. And I wanted so badly to be good. For once, I didn't want to be Megan the hypochondriac. For once, I didn't want to think that I had something I didn't have. And so I took it all back. I convinced myself that I was faking. I convinced myself that I was just getting obsessed with a new diagnosis, and this is my pattern, and this is what I do, and this isn't right either, just like nothing was right before, and all of my issues could be attributed to anxiety, depression, and a history of trauma. I took it all back. And I made that video, the So I'm Not Autistic video, which if you haven't seen, you can watch here. It explains some of the stuff that I was thinking at the time when I was deciding I couldn't be autistic, right? It wasn't a good fit, and I explain it to the best of my ability in that video. But what I want to say in this video is that I actually am autistic. And it makes sense that I doubted it for so long. I do have a lot of hypochondriac tendencies, and I do have a history of thinking that depression and anxiety aren't enough to explain what I'm going through. Once I get a diagnosis, like depression or anxiety, I tend to move on and start searching for the next diagnosis to explain the part of me that feels inherently different and inherently broken. So when I unself-diagnosed myself as autistic, I was doing so because I thought that feeling of, there must be something else wrong with me came from my trauma. I thought that it came from the fact that I don't know how to process emotions, and I don't know how to accept myself or love myself because that wasn't necessarily modeled for me in the healthiest of ways. And let me tell you, sifting through neurodivergence and trauma is incredibly difficult. The two often mimic each other, and even more often, they go hand in hand. Neurodivergent folks are almost always traumatized because being neurodivergent in a neurotypical world is inherently traumatizing. Okay, so why do I think I'm autistic again? What changed? Well, time passed and I stopped seeing that old therapist, not because she said that, not because she said she thought I wasn't autistic, but because we had some other issues we had to sift through and ended up leading to our not working together. Whole other story for a different time. But mostly, I just came to realize that I fit the criteria for autism. It was really as simple as that. Do I fit the stereotype of most autistic people portrayed in the media as young and white and male? No, not exactly. I'm an adult woman. But I still fit the criteria. I struggle with eye contact. I struggle to maintain a normal conversational tempo where I respond in a timely manner. I don't understand what's happening in conversations like 60% of the time. I have an intense need for routine, and repetitive behaviors are absolutely my jam. As I've come to learn more about autism, I have learned to embrace my stimming and realized that that is a really important part of my self-regulation. And I'm sensitive. So sensitive that I thought I was a highly sensitive person for the longest time until I realized that probably like 98% of highly sensitive people are actually autistic. Check this video out for more about that. This is hard. I'm really nervous that everybody is going to think that I am just a hypochondriac who is over-exaggerating and faking for attention, or because she constantly has to think that something new is wrong with her. I'm deeply worried about those things. But my husband actually offered me some incredibly helpful advice a couple of months ago, and I have completely taken it to heart. It's that my autism is not about anybody else but me. And as much as I hope that you, the people watching this, are going to like this video and are going to enjoy hearing about my story and are going to be there to be supportive of me, at the end of the day, I don't need you to be. Because whether you approve or not, I'm still autistic. Thank you so much for watching. I know this is a bit of a weird video, but I wanted to officially let you know that I am actually autistic, and I will make sure to link this video in the old So I'm Not Autistic video, and hopefully people will all be on the same page when they get to my channel.